Okay, so welcome back if you are a regular, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I am just doing videos for people to kind of have a person to be in their corner, because if no one else is going to be there, I'll be there. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so today we're joined by Shinx. From the previous video, it was like a couple of weeks ago now or something, I was watching Young Justice and Robin was talking about how, why is everyone so overwhelmed? Why can't everyone just be whelmed? And I was like, I was just thinking about things, and I was like, well, feeling overwhelmed, like, this is just all Robin aside, but feeling overwhelmed is just such a interesting feeling. I don't know if you know what I mean, but it's like you don't really know why you're feeling like that sometimes. It's just there. It's just a feeling of life, I guess, when things are happening. Sometimes it's like, I guess overwhelmed is, I'll probably put a definition somewhere, but I get it. I feel like a lot of the time we don't really think about how to reel in the overwhelmed feeling, and I think a lot of the time it's just we're trying to make it through, we're trying to sort something out, we're trying to figure something out, but it's like, that may be the case, but maybe we need to, but that feeling's probably just going to come back again, so we need to figure out, how can we not return to that feeling, essentially. Like, we don't want to be overwhelmed all of the time. It's just like there's so much happening. There's honestly just so much happening in life, and because there's so many things happening at once, it's kind of like, how do I manage everything, and how do I make the most of my time, and then how do I also make time for other people as well. And I think personally, I have been actually finding it a bit, like, I find it difficult at times to, keep up with people, if that makes sense. Not in terms of like, just looking on Instagram seeing what they're up to, but like actually genuinely speaking to people and keeping up with what they're doing, or like, sorting out a hanging out period of time to say, yeah, let's meet up, let's do this, and let's catch up, let's see what has life been like. And this made me think actually of this post. I think it was a post I saw, or a TikTok or something like that, but it was just saying how we should just do casual hangouts, which is basically just, if you're just off to run errands or something like that, or you just want to be like, oh, let's just watch a movie or something, like, don't make it an actual plan thing. It's just kind of like, let's just go do something. It's not something serious, like, let's go out, let's go here, let's do that, let's eat this. Just I'm going into town to pick up some things, do you want to come with? Like, that kind of thing. So I think that's kind of a nice way to put it, in terms of, trying to keep up with friends and things like that, in an attempt to keep up with friends, I guess. But in all of that, like, the whole friends thing aside, in all of that, it's just kind of like, okay, well, if I have all of these things that are happening, which honestly, I feel like it's great to have lots of things happening. Like, personally, I think it's just good for me to always have things going on, because then it stops me thinking about random stuff I don't need to be thinking about right now. But at the same time, when I have so much happening, it's kind of like, well, how am I going to be able to keep up with all of my own personal plans? How am I going to be able to give enough time for all my personal plans, and then to just, be able to do everything? But I guess the essence of trying to not consistently be overwhelmed is just figuring out how to take the time for yourself, and also live in the feeling a little bit as well. I know I feel like it's kind of contradictory to what I was saying, in terms of like, let's stop and let's not continue to be overwhelmed, let's not have this feeling all the time. But at the same time, I'm very much an advocate for whatever you're feeling, feel it, and then you can start processing it and move forward from it. I think on a personal level, for me to kind of just be like, oh, I don't want to feel like this, or like, I need to find a way to come out of this feeling, I would just say it's just to look at what you can probably put on the back burner for a little bit. Try and figure out what can you put aside for now, and then what can you bring back later on, because maybe you don't need to be doing everything right now. Maybe, you can put one or two things aside and you can come back to them in a few months or something like that. Just kind of prioritize what it is that you need to do right now, and then you can kind of figure it out from there and decide if whatever you put on hold is even worth continuing. Because sometimes that's what you need to do. You really actually just need to take a step back from things and then figure out, okay, I wasn't doing this, and because of that, this and this happened. And whether that's good things or bad things, it makes you realise, do I keep this thing or do I go in a different direction? I think that's pretty much what I would say in terms of feel what you're feeling, but once you've felt it for long enough, just know that you do have the ability to move on from it, to move forward from it, and to learn from it as well. Don't be so stressed about it as well, which I guess ties into the next thing about feeling stressed. But I don't outwardly get stressed. I think I'm very much a subconscious stressed person. I guess I'm just trying to figure out where did it stem from? Where did it begin? Like trying to psychoanalyze, I guess, myself a little bit. I'm trying to be like, okay, well, sure, if you're feeling like this, there's probably a reason for it. And if there's a reason for it, then there's probably a solution for it. Also, I think stress kind of builds up from the feeling of being overwhelmed. I think they kind of come hand in hand sometimes, and I think when you're overly stressed or worried or whatever it is about something, you start to retreat in the sense that you don't want to do anything anymore. And I feel like I definitely get like that when I'm really overwhelmed with things, because it's like a really bad cycle. So like I'll be overwhelmed and then I won't do anything, and then I get stressed because I'm not doing anything, and then I go back to being overwhelmed because I'm stressed about the fact that I'm not doing anything and the fact that I'm already overwhelmed, so I'm even more overwhelmed. So it's just like we keep going around in this circle, that you need to make time for things. You can't just expect there to be time. It's definitely easier said than done, I think, for sure. It's definitely easier said than done. This then brings it back to like this 2-minute rule. And the 2-minute rule is that, this is not my own thing, obviously, but the 2-minute rule is just like you sit down or you go do whatever it is you're going to do for like just 2 minutes. And then before you know it, within that 2 minutes, you're already like getting into the swing of doing something. You're just like, oh, okay, I'll just continue. And you can extend the timer to be like, oh, I'll add another 2 minutes or something like that, or I'll add like 5 more minutes or something like that. And then before you know it, you've probably spent like 30 minutes to an hour probably doing whatever it is that you first said you weren't even going to do. So yeah, that's why I think that's a good way to try and break out of the cycle of being stressed about things, or just being overwhelmed, worried, whatever it may be about certain things, like in terms of not having the time to do something. Obviously the 2-minute rule doesn't really work with other kind of worries and things like that and stresses, but in terms of like me trying to get things done, do the 2-minute rule. Just spend that time doing whatever it is, and then before I know it, I've done way more than I thought I was going to be able to do in the first place. I believe that you're not presented with a problem that you can't get out of. So a lot of like religious people would say that God does not give you something he doesn't think you can handle. So, but sometimes you're just like, I'm not one of God's strongest soldiers today, you know? But sometimes you honestly just have to be strong. And it's kind of sad in a way to, think about that in terms of like, oh, why do I just have to be strong? Why can't I just break down and cry in a corner? Which, I feel like telling somebody that they just have to be strong is damaging, because then it's kind of like saying you're not allowed to feel what you're feeling, and if they're not allowed to feel what they're feeling, they're going to push those emotions down, and that just leads to a whole host of other random things that we don't want to feel. And yeah, that's essentially what just happens. You just don't want to feel. Or when you do feel a certain feeling, you'll just be like, what is this? And then it might overwhelm you because you're like, I've never had this, or like more like I've never sat in my feelings before. But because you're doing it now, it's just too much to an extent. So that's why I just kind of think, take the time you need, take it slow, think about what you need, think about why you need it as well. Because I think sometimes you always think about, oh, this is what I need, this is what I need, this is what I need. But you never think, oh wait, why do I actually need that? Why am I looking for this? And when we answer that question of why, then the feelings start to dissolve a little bit. The feelings of stress, the feelings of worry, the feeling of overwhelmed, it all starts to dissolve just a little bit because we understand where we're coming from ourselves. Sometimes you do need to call in some help, and hearing something from somebody else is like, one, either you're hearing what you needed to hear and you're just like, yes, I already knew that, but hearing it from you just solidifies that, you know, this makes sense. Or two, it's like, I didn't know that's what I needed to hear. But basically, I guess I feel like I might maybe waffled a little bit, but again, like, I'm trying to speak to you as if I was speaking to one of my friends, and I do kind of waffle, but the core points are in there. The core points are literally in there. I hope you did manage to take something from this and you do feel comforted in some kind of way. I hope you enjoyed Shinx being here. And just remember, as always, that there is going to be a solution. There is going to be a light at the end of that tunnel. Like, I wholeheartedly believe in you that you will get there. Just remember, like, if nobody else is in your corner, I'm in your corner, you know? I am here to be your cheerleader, and as always, keep doing what you're doing, because if you love what you're doing, no one can ever take that from you. So yeah, say bye, Shinx.